The Yukon has a way of keeping secrets buried deep beneath frozen ground. Snow reshapes the land overnight, rivers quietly change course, and the tundra absorbs stories without leaving a trace. Out here, nothing reveals itself easily. But on one cold autumn morning, beneath a heavy gray sky, something finally began to surface. For weeks, uneasy whispers drifted through the Klondike, rumors of unusual digging, subtle changes in crew behavior, and growing tension between Parker Schnabel and the man who had long been his mentor, rival, and adversary, Tony Beets. Still, no one expected the first real crack to come from inside Parker's own operation. At the Big Nugget claim, the season was closing fast. Machines groaned through thick mud, bucket lines rattled non-stop, and the cold cut through layers of gear. Parker Schnabel had been watching his gold totals drop steadily. The ground wasn't behaving the way it should. The pay layer felt thinner, inconsistent, and wrong. This wasn't a natural shift. It felt redirected, almost guided by an unseen hand. Then came the moment everything changed. A trusted foreman, someone who had worked beside Parker for years, finally broke his silence. He approached quietly, keeping his voice low beneath the roar of equipment. He had seen something on Tony Beets' claim, something deliberate and hidden. They stepped away from the noise toward a ridge overlooking the cut. What the foreman described was unsettling in its precision. Late at night, while checking boundary lines, he had found a trench that shouldn't exist. Freshly disturbed earth, floodlights burning after logged hours, machines he recognized. More importantly, the trench cut directly into a geological path that could redirect gold-bearing gravel away from Parker's ground. Parker Schnabel didn't react with anger. He went silent. Years in mining had taught him how to read truth under pressure. The trench aligned almost perfectly with the pay layer he had been chasing all season. This wasn't coincidence. Someone knew exactly where he was digging and when his operation was most vulnerable. The foreman explained why he finally spoke up. The trench was expanding. The digging was accelerating. Staying silent now meant becoming complicit. That truth settled over Parker like early winter frost. This wasn't just competition, it was calculated interference. Before dawn, Parker led a small, trusted crew across the valley. Frost clung to the ground as they reached the narrow corridor between the Schnabel and Beets claims. The alignment was unmistakable. The trench mirrored the geological line Parker had followed for weeks. They drilled quietly. When the first core sample emerged, everything changed. Dense gravel, rich sediment, thick pay. It was the same layer Parker had been chasing, only stronger here. Fed by a hidden channel he should have reached long ago. A second and third sample confirmed it. The ground hadn't shifted naturally. It had been intercepted. As they worked, a Beets loader appeared on a distant ridge, idle and watching. It wasn't routine, it was surveillance. Once the machine withdrew, Parker packed up, but the foreman revealed something more. Heavy transport trucks had been hauling unusually large loads from a dormant section of Tony Beets' land, aligned perfectly with the trench. Tony hadn't just found something, he was already mining it. Back at camp, Parker examined the samples under harsh lights. The numbers were staggering. But Tony Beets was known for spectacle. For him to hide a discovery like this, the reason had to go deeper than profit. Then came the missing piece, an old historical channel map pulled from mining archives. A forgotten deep channel, dismissed decades ago due to lack of technology. A buried legend. If Tony had rediscovered it, the secrecy suddenly made sense. The tension peaked when Parker returned to the trench. This time, Tony Beets arrived with his machines. The two men met in the snow. Parker calmly laid out the evidence: the redirected gravel, the samples, the historical map. Tony didn't deny the discovery. He only said opportunities like this come once in a lifetime. But Parker reminded him of the unwritten rule that keeps the Yukon from descending into chaos: trust. The machines eventually withdrew. The valley fell silent again. But everything had changed. The secret beneath the black dirt was no longer buried, and in the Yukon, once the ground speaks, the truth never stays hidden for long.